Okay, hey everybody, this is History 103. It's Professor Diffley. This is Module 3. This is Lecture Video 2. So I left off last one talking about this characteristic of early cities. We were talking about writing, intellectual advances there. What you're going to get, I talked about epic poems, and the first one ever in human history is the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? An epic is a grand story, teaches all these lessons, man's struggle against the world, against the gods, all sorts of things. And so this is one of the first there, the Epic of Gilgamesh. You've probably read it in English classes and things like that before. But really, this is a gist of the story in many ways is Gilgamesh is a king. He's brutal to his people, things like that. The people pray to the gods. They send Enkidu, a sort of wild man sort of thing there to put the king in his place. The two fight, but they, into a draw, they become best friends. That sort of thing, and they go and have all these grand exploits around there. Enkidu is eventually killed by the gods for trying to show them up. So one of the things it shows, the lessons here are supposed to show what a good leader is, right? The wrath of the gods as another. But one of the things, Gilgamesh wants to live forever, right? That was his idea originally, right? He was better than the gods, that sort of thing. Gilgamesh eventually dies, as all humans do, but one of the things that come out of this is you can live on, right? In the sense that your name can live on into the future going forward, and it's what you will be remembered as that's important, right? And so did Gilgamesh, in a way, live forever? Yes, because we're still talking about him, right? We're talking about how many, thousands of years later. And this is a picture, though, of, stone carving of Gilgamesh. And again, this is part when I talk about stoneworking, you're going to increasingly see finer and finer sculptures and stone, again, really, really real specialization and highly skilled needed for this. This is a cuneiform tablet from there depicting the story, telling the story of Gilgamesh. One of the interesting things in here is you also see the story, the first flood story. We're going to see in Mesopotamia, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flood all the time and unpredictably and can wipe out entire settlements and things like this. And so going back here, well before you have the stories of Noah and the flood in the Christian Judeo-Islamic traditions, going back, you have it here thousands of years before. Why? Well, when this is your world and the rivers can come and just wipe out everything, maybe it does seem like the world is ending. And what's wild about this too is this story very much mirrors the story of in Gilgamesh. Very much mirrors the story later of Noah. And Noah again comes much later. Essentially, is a god comes and tells tells a man to gather up all the animals, build a giant ship because the flood is going to come and the gods are angry and are going to wipe everybody out. So he gathers up all these animals and his family, and they ride out the storm in safety. Once the flood waters recede, again, very very much like the Noah flood story there. And this is just an excerpt from this, and you could read this in the lecture slides there. So the one, again, you have the cities, but you have smaller settlements, village communities, especially in parts of Afro-Eurasia. Again, most people live in these smaller village communities, not the cities, right? It's going to be, in a select few areas. The cities are really important, but in a lot of places, you're going to still have people living in villages. It's going to be a long time. It's almost till the 20th century that, taking the United States, it's into the 20th century until you have a majority of the population living in or around a urban city area. So it's not surprising to go back, almost 6,000 years to find that most people also lived in village communities. Most of humanity living in big cities or closer to cities is a very, very new phenomenon, even though it started that long ago. Again, in a lot of those areas, you still had tools made of wood or stone. In a lot of places, you will. Closer to the civilizations, the major civilizations, they're going to be using metals. But when you get to places like what is now Western Europe, parts of Africa, and the Americas, they're still going to be wood or Stone Age civilizations. You're also going to get the same sort of trade as we saw with the smaller, hunter-gatherers as you had in Neolithic times, trading meat and animal products for grain. So maybe a pastoralist trading what they have the meat and animal products to the agrarian farmers for their grain and people trading tools, that sort of thing. Again, you're going to still have the clan and family allegiances, more egalitarian, so you're not going to have the highly stratified, with a political class, a ruling class, as you are in the cities. Again, same thing in the Americas. Actually, you're going to have a lot of divide between. You're going to have, really in Mesoamerica, from Mexico down, where you get the great civilizations, large, and again, great meaning large here. There, but for North America, much of it, it's smaller settlements, environmental factors, just the less, and we talked about this last time, just the lack of draft animals and things like that. So you're going to get pockets of population that may be connected at times, but and not others, and so it's going to really look different. Really going to develop differently, and we'll see that as we go on. Sub-Saharan Africa, again, very much like in the Americas. You're going to get people moving as the Sahara Desert expands. You're going to be people moving further and further south, and you're going to get some trade and cultural contacts, but again, it's going to be still those small egalitarian agrarian villages in much of these worlds. You will still have pastoral nomadic communities. Obviously, you still do today. The breeding of sheep, goats, horse, and cattle. They're going to be more to the periphery, which means the edges, right, of settlements, looking for pastures. And so, like in Mesopotamia, you'll have the farmers and the cities down in the valley, and then the pastoralists are on the edge of that, more towards the mountains and beyond there. Nomadic groups are going to move from those highlands to lowlands in cyclical patterns. What is the cycle? It's going to sort of go, one thing happens, then another, and then it sort of repeats. And you're going to have these, they're really important because they're the trade, right? They link all these communities there. But when they move to the lowlands, it's usually they're driven there by environmental forces, and they usually butt up against, and usually there can lead to contact with those settled communities. And we're going to see that's going to be a story that's going to repeat and repeat over time as we move forward in this class. And then you also have large mountains and deserts not allowing trade and not allowing people to move. The Saharan Desert, some of the mountain ranges in Europe and Africa and even Asia. It's going to be a while for people to be able to get past those, right? Because they just don't have the ability yet. The tools, the ability to have the supplies and things. So that is going to take a while, and it is also going to keep some of these areas pretty isolated from one another. Increasingly, you're going to see the importance of the horse and steppe lands. The steppes, again, are like, raised plateaus of grasslands. And they're going to become more and more important in inner and central Eurasia, really towards and from there to the Pacific Ocean. That's where you're going to get the largest of these horse-based steppe peoples. And they're going to be incredibly important to history in multiple ways of conquering areas, of bringing in, new ideas between and new technologies, and increasingly in trade, right? That's how really, what's going to protect and build much, much later the Silk Road and all these long distance trade networks. These horse people are going to be, very highly mobile, skilled warriors, and they're going to be able to really become bigger and bigger players everywhere from, eventually everywhere from Europe all the way to the Pacific Ocean there. So from the Atlantic to the Pacific in many ways. But they all start in this central and inner Eurasia, which is very much steppe lands there. Again, rise of trade, settled communities, increased need for trade, right? As you have ruling classes and abundance and stratification, the upper classes are going to need to spend that wealth and distinguish them for others, and so you're going to get more and more luxuries, right? More use of gold, more and more use of precious stones, obsidian, different types of minerals. It's trickle or down the line trade. What do we mean by that? Is Not everybody's trading. Not everybody is that wealthy to be able to trade. So it's not like everybody's, you're going to have large traders. You're going to have the upper classes trading there. Some of those goods will then make it down to others. Down the line trade is, even when we talk about these trade networks, if they span hundreds of miles, you don't usually have someone going the entire route, right? There'll be little areas. So one group will trade with the group next to them, and then they'll trade to the next group, and that's the way goods will go back and forth. But you do get long distance trade around 5000 BCE, again looking for raw materials, especially in Mesopotamia, which doesn't have a lot in the Mesopotamian river valley, don't have a lot of resources, natural resources, so they're going to need more. Why? Well, if you control metals, you're going to have a lot of power, right? You can make better tools, better weapons as well. And you're going to start to get more and more, like I said, trading stations, right? The government trying to organize it, of course, get their taxes as well. And it's also going to be, different types of exchange. You're going to start to get things similar to money, right? A currency in some ways. Others will be trading goods. But it really does allow for different forms of exchange and what they exchange. Increasingly, too, humans begin to domesticate pack animals like mules, horses, wild asses they were called, horses, and in certain areas, camels, and so increasingly, they can carry large amounts of weight and travel long distances, and they're going to help this trade because now it's just not one person trying to carry whatever they can, right? And so again, this is a real a turning point in human history because again, think about it, that's 5,000 BCE, so we're talking about 7,000 years ago, and we still have long-distance trade today, and it's still incredibly important for raw materials and other things. So this is, again, shows you the trade networks here. The Indus River Valley is trading all the way with these areas, Mesopotamia and Egypt. They did know of each other. There is trade, but again, you don't usually have someone starting over here and going the whole route over here. They would be you can see at these different dots here, these urban centers, you would have these areas where people would trade there. And along the way, you would have little stopovers, those waypoints, things like that. And again, here's all the trade routes, even goes into, trickles its way into Europe, down here into what it was Nubia, and down further into Africa there. And again, read the notes. There's more information on this there. Again, Mesopotamia, birthplace of the world's first cities, first civilizations. Again, just an overview because the video on this is really good, so I don't want to go through the whole thing. Mesopotamia, though, means the place between the two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. It's often called the Fertile Crescent, right? We talked about the Neolithic Revolution. Increasingly, you're going to have the use of irrigation, and here's a waterworks, the image here. You can see them having a pump, being able to pump water out. You also see these irrigation canals, and it makes it for successful farming. Not only did the irrigation system, bring water to the desert and to other areas, but it also gave those the Tigris and Euphrates, like I said, flood all the time and unpredictably. Those man-made channels give the chance for the water to go somewhere that is not as destructive. Again, it is in modern-day Iraq, parts of Syria and southeastern Turkey, but the vast majority of it is in modern-day Iraq. And again, you're going to need more and more waterworks, like I said. And this is going to be around the Zagros Mountains. They grew wheat, millet, sesame, and barley are the major grains there. And that's, 4 major grains that could be used, preserved. So this is going to have an abundance of people there. Just some more of the image there. Again, the crossroads here, we talked about this, why they're trading and, what they're needing to trade for. Again, they need more and more resources. You can see how the resources are spread out in this region. In Mesopotamia there, you don't really have much at all. So they're going to need to trade what is into today, modern-day Iran, Pakistan, and India there. Again, here's showing it again, and it shows all that, and this is in your text as well. Again, we talked about the cities, what they're there for, so more and more you can take a look at this. But one of the things about the cities, too, they're meeting places for people and deities. Again, cities really do become centers in many ways, and you can see the social hierarchies Again, the different districts of the cities, the differences in wealth was evident. You would have poor quarters, you would have the rich areas. It was stark. You could see it there, and we could tell that in the archaeological record based on the size of the houses, dwellings, that sort of thing. Increasingly, there's going to be the view that man serves the gods, and so that's why you're going to have the temples in the center of the cities. And again, like I said, the royals seeking their importance, announce their importance, build complexes to show theirs. And again, originally it's made by mud and brick, and you can see how they built upon each other or expand the walls and things like that. So more and more growth there. And we'll pick up here on video 3 with the gods and temples part of this in Mesopotamia. All right, thank you.